Illegal immigration to the United States is a complex issue influenced by many global factors, including violence, economic hardship, political instability, and environmental challenges. While much of the focus has been on the US-Mexico border, immigrants are arriving from countries all over the world, driven by different circumstances. This video presents a countdown of the top 10 countries contributing to illegal immigration to the US, revealing some surprising origins that are not always discussed. 10. Venezuela. Venezuela's political and economic collapse has led to one of the most significant migration crises in modern history. Hyperinflation, food shortages, and the breakdown of essential services have made life increasingly untenable for millions of Venezuelans. The country's dire economic situation, compounded by political turmoil and the erosion of democratic institutions, has caused widespread poverty. As a result, many Venezuelans seek refuge abroad, with the United States being a key destination due to its stability and better economic prospects. While many Venezuelans initially sought refuge in neighboring South American countries, an increasing number have made their way to the US, driven by the relative proximity and the large Venezuelan diaspora already settled there. For those who cannot secure legal avenues to enter the US, the risks of illegal immigration become the only option to escape the crisis at home. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to stay updated with more content. 9. Brazil. Brazil, once a powerhouse in South America, has faced a dramatic decline in its economy in recent years. High inflation, widespread unemployment, and political instability have created conditions where many Brazilians see no other option but to migrate in search of a better life. Violence, particularly in cities like Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, has further exacerbated the country's problems, pushing people to leave. Economic instability, combined with political corruption, has led many Brazilians to pursue opportunities in the US, where wages are higher and employment prospects are better. The close ties between the two nations and the larger Brazilian community in the United States make it a common destination. Despite the challenges posed by illegal immigration, many Brazilians are determined to reach the US, hoping for a brighter future. 8. Ukraine. The ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia has led to a significant wave of Ukrainian migration, with many seeking asylum in the United States. The annexation of Crimea by Russia and the war in eastern Ukraine have made life increasingly perilous for Ukrainians. As the violence and political instability continue, many Ukrainians look to the US for safety, employment, and a stable environment to rebuild their lives. Ukrainians often enter the US on temporary visas, such as tourist or student visas, but overstay these permits as the situation in their home country remains unresolved. The combination of ongoing warfare and the loss of territorial integrity makes the United States a preferred destination, offering security and opportunities unavailable in their war-torn homeland. 7. Guinea. Guinea, a West African nation, has seen a rise in illegal immigration to the United States in recent years, despite being relatively small compared to other countries on this list. The country's political instability, lack of economic opportunity, and widespread poverty have created conditions where many Guineans feel they have no choice but to leave. Corruption within the government, poor infrastructure, and limited access to basic services make it difficult for citizens to improve their lives at home. Guinea's citizens are increasingly seeking better opportunities abroad, with the US being an attractive destination due to its economic opportunities and educational prospects. The journey to the US is perilous, but for many Guineans, it offers the promise of a better future far removed from the challenges they face in their home country. 6. China. China is another country that contributes significantly to illegal immigration to the United States, primarily through overstayed student and work visas. China's rapidly growing economy has made it possible for many Chinese nationals to study abroad, but for some, the prospects of returning to China after their studies are less appealing due to the country's strict government control and limited opportunities for economic advancement. Many Chinese students come to the US for educational purposes and choose to remain once their student visas expire. Others enter the US illegally on tourist or work visas, seeking better employment opportunities in sectors such as technology, construction, and hospitality. Despite the political and social restrictions at home, many Chinese immigrants see the US as a land of opportunity, offering a higher standard of living and greater personal freedoms. 5. India. India may not immediately come to mind as a top contributor to illegal immigration to the US, but it ranks highly in terms of overstayed visas. A significant number of Indian nationals enter the US on student or work visas, but many overstay once they are unable to find employment opportunities that match their skills or pay back home. India's rapidly growing economy has created a burgeoning middle class, but the job market remains highly competitive, leading some to seek opportunities in the United States. While many Indians enter the US legally, some arrive on tourist visas and remain after their visits expire. The promise of higher wages, better employment opportunities, and access to world-class education makes the US an attractive destination for many, leading them to overstay their visas or enter illegally. 4. El Salvador. El Salvador, plagued by gang violence, economic instability, and political corruption, is a major source of illegal immigration to the United States. Gang violence is pervasive, with criminal organizations like MS-13 and Barrio 18 exerting control over urban and rural areas alike. These gangs often force young people into their ranks and demand extortion from local businesses, making daily life dangerous for ordinary citizens. El Salvador's poor economic conditions further exacerbate the situation. Widespread poverty, high unemployment, and limited access to education and healthcare drive many Salvadorans to seek better opportunities in the US. Despite the risks associated with illegal immigration, many Salvadorans are willing to take the perilous journey northward, hoping to escape violence and build a better life for their families. 3. Honduras. Honduras shares many of the same challenges as its Central American neighbors, Guatemala and El Salvador, including high levels of violence, poverty, and political instability. The country has one of the highest homicide rates in the world, largely driven by gang violence and the presence of drug cartels. These criminal organizations force many young people into dangerous lives of crime or leave them with no option but to flee to avoid being caught in the crossfire. The economic situation in Honduras is equally dire. It is one of the poorest nations in Central America, with limited opportunities for employment and little access to education and healthcare. Corruption within the government further hinders efforts to address these issues, leaving many citizens with no hope for improvement. As a result, many Hondurans look to the United States for safety and better economic prospects. 2. Guatemala. Guatemala has become one of the top sources of illegal immigration to the United States. The country suffers from high levels of violence, driven by gangs, drug trafficking, and organized crime. These factors, combined with a lack of government response to address the issue effectively, have created an environment where many Guatemalans feel they have no choice but to flee. Economic hardship is also a major driver. Guatemala is one of the poorest countries in Latin America, with many people living in rural areas where access to healthcare, education, and employment is limited. The desire to escape violence and improve their economic circumstances has led many Guatemalans to embark on the dangerous journey to the US, often crossing through Mexico and facing criminal organizations along the way. 1. Mexico. Mexico has been the leading source of illegal immigration to the United States for decades. The close proximity between the two countries, along with shared economic and social factors, continues to make Mexico the primary origin for undocumented migrants. Many Mexicans seek better job opportunities, as the U.S. offers higher wages, more job options, and improved standards of living compared to what is available in many parts of Mexico. Additionally, violence from drug cartels and organized crime continues to drive many Mexicans to seek refuge in the U.S. These criminal groups exert significant influence over large portions of the country, with violence frequently spilling over into everyday life. The lack of access to basic services, including healthcare and education, combined with widespread poverty, pushes many Mexicans to attempt illegal immigration in search of a safer, more prosperous future. The countries contributing to illegal immigration to the United States are varied and diverse. While Mexico remains the top source of undocumented immigrants, countries from Central and South America, as well as from Asia, Africa, and Europe, are seeing their citizens attempt to cross into the U.S. The reasons for migration are often complex, involving a mix of economic hardship, violence, political instability, and the pursuit of better opportunities. Understanding the origins of illegal immigration and the challenges that migrants face is critical to addressing the issue and formulating effective immigration reform policies. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Stay tuned for updates on global issues and immigration stories.